When is the Neagley spinoff coming out? Everything we know. Warning, this video discusses details about the upcoming Neagley spinoff, Frances Neagley's story, the connection to Reacher, and what we know about the new series. If you've been waiting for more Frances Neagley after Reacher, the wait is almost over. The highly anticipated Reacher spinoff Neagley now has an official release date. The series will premiere on September 16, 2026, on Prime Video, and there's an important detail fans should know. All 8 episodes will be released at once. That means viewers won't have to wait week after week to see Neagley's first solo adventure. But why is the spinoff happening? What will Neagley be doing without Reacher? Will Jack Reacher appear? And what exactly is the story behind her first major solo case? Let's break down everything we know. 1. When does Neagley premiere? The biggest question has finally been answered. Neagley premieres September 16, 2026. The first season consists of 8 episodes, and Prime Video plans to release the entire season on the same day. The timing is particularly interesting because September 16th is also the day the Reacher Season 4 finale arrives. So fans will effectively get a double dose of the Reacher universe. First, Season 4 reaches its conclusion, then audiences can immediately move into Frances Neagley's own story. That makes September 16th a major day for the franchise. 2. Who is Neagley? Frances Neagley is played by Maria Sten. She is one of Jack Reacher's closest friends and former military colleagues. Neagley served with Reacher in the Army's 110th Special Investigations Unit, an elite investigative team that Reacher helped establish. Unlike many people Reacher meets during his travels, Neagley is someone he genuinely trusts. They have a shared history, they understand each other, and they know exactly what the other person is capable of. That relationship is one of the reasons Neagley became such a popular character in the television series. 3. What is the Neagley spinoff about? The new series takes Frances out of Reacher's shadow and gives her a mystery of her own. Neagley is now working as a private investigator in Chicago. Her life changes when she discovers that a beloved friend from her past has been killed in what appears to be a suspicious accident. Instead of accepting the official explanation, Neagley starts asking questions. And as she investigates, she discovers that the death may be connected to something much larger. The official story describes her as using everything she learned from Reacher and her time with the 110th to pursue justice. So the basic setup is very familiar to Reacher fans. A suspicious death, a hidden conspiracy, a determined investigator, and people who clearly don't want the truth discovered. But this time, Neagley is the one leading the investigation. 4. Will Jack Reacher appear? Yes, Alan Ritchson is set to appear as Jack Reacher in the spinoff. However, Neagley isn't simply going to become another version of the main Reacher show. The purpose of the series is to establish Frances as a lead character in her own right. That means Reacher can appear without taking over the story. His presence also makes sense because these two characters have such a strong history. Neagley is one of the few people Reacher can trust completely. So even when she's working alone, his influence is still likely to be felt. 5. Why does Neagley need her own show? This is probably the biggest reason the spinoff works. Neagley has already become one of the most popular recurring characters in Reacher. She isn't just the person Reacher calls when he needs backup. She's an experienced investigator and former military operative with her own personality, skills, and history. The original series has gradually shown that she can operate independently. Now the spin-off gets to explore that side of her character properly. Instead of asking, what happens when Neagley helps Reacher, the new show asks, what happens when Neagley is the one solving the case? That gives the character much more room to grow. 6. What makes Neagley different from Reacher? Although they're similar in some ways, Neagley isn't simply a female version of Reacher. She has her own approach. Reacher tends to operate alone and follow his instincts. Neagley is also highly independent, but she has her own investigative methods and relationships. The new show is also expected to explore more of Neagley's personal and emotional life. Recent previews have revealed that the series will explore her struggle with hapaphobia, a fear of physical touch, which is connected to her past. That's something the main Reacher series has only touched on. So the spin-off can show audiences a side of Neagley that doesn't necessarily appear when she's standing beside Reacher. 7. Who stars in Neagley? Maria Sten leads the series as Frances Neagley. The supporting cast includes Grayston Holt as Detective Hudson Riley, Adeline Rudolph as Renee Birdswhistle, Jasper Jones as Keno, Matthew Del Negro as Pierce Woodrow, and Damon Harriman as Lawrence Cole. Alan Ritchson also appears as Jack Reacher. That gives the show a new supporting team around Neagley instead of simply surrounding her with the same characters from the main series. And that's important. For the spin-off to succeed, viewers need to become invested in Neagley's world. 8. Will Neagley be like Reacher? The action certainly looks like it will feel familiar. The trailer shows Neagley investigating a dangerous conspiracy and getting involved in physical confrontations. But the creators have emphasized that the new show will explore Neagley on a deeper psychological level. That could make it feel different from Reacher. The main series is heavily centered around Jack's solitary personality and his ability to walk into a situation and dismantle it. Neagley can focus more on the emotional consequences of her past, her military experience, her friendships, her fears, and the reason she continues pursuing justice. So while the franchise DNA will be recognizable, the tone could be somewhat different. 9. Is Neagley based on a Lee Child book? The character comes from the Jack Reacher universe created by Lee Child, but the television version of Neagley has been expanded considerably. In fact, the TV series introduced Neagley earlier and gave her a much larger role than she initially had in the books. That made it possible for the character to develop a separate identity, and now she is getting her own television series. Interestingly, a new Neagley novel titled Zero Margin, co-written by Lee Child and Yasmin Ango, has also been announced for March 2027, so Neagley's world is expanding beyond the television series. 10. Why September 16th is important. The release date isn't just a random scheduling decision. Reacher Season 4 is an 8-episode season. The finale arrives on September 16th, and Neagley premieres on that same day with all 8 episodes. That creates a natural transition from one series to the other. Fans can finish Reacher Season 4 and immediately jump into Neagley's first season. It also gives Prime Video an opportunity to keep audiences inside the same franchise, rather than leaving a long gap between shows. Final thoughts. So, when is the Neagley spin-off coming out? September 16th, 2026, on Prime Video. The first season will contain 8 episodes, and all 8 are scheduled to be released at once. The series stars Maria Sten as Frances Neagley, with Alan Ritchson returning as Jack Reacher. But this isn't simply Reacher Season 4.5. It's Neagley's story. She is now a private investigator in Chicago, and when a friend from her past dies under suspicious circumstances, she refuses to accept the obvious explanation. Her investigation sends her into a dangerous conspiracy, where she has to rely on everything she learned during her military career, and everything she learned from working alongside Reacher. And that's what makes this spin-off so interesting. Neagley has always been one of the few people Reacher genuinely trusts. Now we're finally going to see what happens when she doesn't need Reacher to lead the way. She gets her own case, her own team, her own enemies, and her own story. The biggest question now is whether Neagley can establish itself as more than a spin-off. If Maria Sten's character can carry the action, mystery, and emotional storytelling on her own, this could become a major new part of the Reacher universe. And with all 8 episodes arriving on September 16th, fans won't have to wait long to find out. Reacher may be the name that started the franchise, but this time, it's Neagley's turn.